Well, Mr. Mayor, I do wonder if you've been asleep in the last couple of years and you've missed the main point and the main feature of what's been happening in our democracy since you became mayor in 2016, and a few weeks after the people of this country voted to leave the European Union. You talk about a people's vote, but we've already had a people's vote, and 17.4 million people in this country voted to take back control of our sovereignty, our laws, our borders, our money, our agriculture, and our fishing grounds. And that cannot be overturned.
Are you going to ask a question?
I'm coming to the question, and you're joining this campaign for a people's vote. Isn't that a flagrant and brazen attempt to overturn the democratic will of the British people?
The leader of UKIP, a man probably none of you have heard of, it's called Gerald Batten. He said,
Gerard.
Until this morning, I'd not heard of him either. He said that doing a deal with the EU would be the easiest deal to make in history. You could do it over a cup of tea in the afternoon. Do you agree with him?
It would be very easy if the EU weren't so difficult and were throwing obstacles in the way of this country, which is what we've seen over the last couple of years. And obviously, you know, what I might agree with you slightly on is the fact that we haven't had any good negotiation from Theresa May, and we would have had a much better set of negotiations if someone from UKIP were in charge, as obviously you seem to be alluding. But Mr. Mayor, one of the major politicians who campaigned to remain said this shortly after, and I wonder if you agree with this person. He said, the problem for those that are saying to the British public that there should be a second referendum is that it would lead to even more cynicism. It would lead to the British public saying, hold on a sec, these were the rules of the game, we voted in record numbers, and now you're ignoring us. But the reality is the British public had a say. They voted, and they voted to leave. Now, the name of that person was Sadiq Khan. It's you. Why are you not agreeing with yourself anymore?
Well, I think the point is even the leader of your party has been proved to be wrong in relation to the possibility of doing a deal with the European Union. Nobody said during the referendum campaign that we'd have the police planning for civil unrest. Nobody said, who campaigned for us to leave the EU, that the NHS would be stockpiling medicine for 6 weeks. Nobody said, who was campaigning to leave the EU, that we'd have NHS wards in London understaffed because EU citizens, who are Londoners by the way, have chosen to leave our country. Those campaigning to leave the EU didn't say you'd have businesses who are relocating to other cities across Europe, taking some of their back office staff to cities as diverse as Frankfurt to Paris. Those leaving the EU didn't say that the European Medicines Agency would relocate from London to Amsterdam, taking at least 900 jobs with them. Those campaigning to leave the EU said that doing a deal with the EU would lead to us having access to the single market. Not the case. Those who were campaigning to leave the European Union said that we would get £350 million each week going towards the NHS as a consequence of us leaving the EU. It didn't happen. So all the promises made during the referendum campaign by you and colleagues, and those you revere and idolise, like Boris Johnson, have been proved to be wrong. And the point that I'm making is that nobody said we'd have two options, either a bad deal or a no deal when it came to us leaving the European Union. And in those circumstances, I think the British public should have a say on deciding whether they accept bad deal, and that includes, by the way, no deal, or whether they want to stay in the European Union. Bear in mind all the promises made by you and your side have shown to be mistruths, lies and fantasy.
Mr. Mayor, as people have said all the way through, no deal is better than a bad deal. And as many of the people said on both sides of the argument, leaving the European Union means leaving in full, leaving the single market and leaving the customs union. But I do appreciate your skills in filibustering, Mr. Mayor, because you've talked me out of my time, and unfortunately I don't have time for any other questions. Pass back to you, Mr. Chair.
Right. The